Good morning, everybody, or afternoon. I know my time zone's a little bit different than a lot of people's. It is 11:30 here, and I wasn't going to do my makeup today, but I do want to film a video. So I decided I'd go ahead and hop on and get ready, and I want to go ahead and use the Natasha Denona Glam palette. My sister sent this to me for my birthday, so I am going to be using this today. I know several people were interested in a live stream of me using that, so that is what I'm going to do today. All I have is a clean face, so I'm going to start off with some Bobbi Brown vitamin, what is this? The vitamin enriched face base. And because the pot's like deep and I have these nails, I'm just going to use a sponge to get some of the product out and put it on my face, and then I'll blend it in with my hands. I hope everybody is having a great day today. And I just realized I need to go to my live chat. So I probably should have prepped my face before I got on, but I didn't think about it. So here we are. And I'll probably start off with my eyes first. That way, if there's any fallout with this palette, I can kind of wipe it away before I put my base on. Hey, Lisa. GRWM means get ready with me. It's just an acronym that's used in the beauty community. So that's what that means. It's why that's in the title. I'm going to go ahead and put the Becca under eye stuff under my eyes. I don't know what this is called. I always forget what this is actually called. The under eye brightening corrector. I love this stuff. I've talked about it before. The reason I think it's just because this is reflective. The reason I like this is it looks like I have under eye bags, but I really don't. It's just because my eyes are a little bit deep set that I get a shadow. So I find that that product will reflect a lot of the light. Sorry if you guys can hear the noise outside. I don't know what my neighbor's been doing for the past couple of days, but they are constantly making a lot of noises. I can't do anything about it. Hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. And to prep my eyelids, I'm just going to use the NARS concealer that's potted. I like to use this as a base. I have other eye bases, but I prefer to use this one. I find that my eyeshadow lasts really well with this, and it doesn't crease once I set it. And it cancels out all of the redness on my eyes. Hey, Cheryl, how are you? I don't take very much. I just dip my brush in and then work the product around. You don't have to feel dumb, Lisa. It's okay. You are not the first one who has asked what that means, so it's okay. Hey, World Puzzler, how are you doing today? I'm hoping my experience with this palette is a good one. It looks really pretty. I have, I think NYX Born to Glow Concealer is awesome for under eyes. I'll have to try, I haven't had the Becca one for very long. I mean, I've had this for a few months and there's barely a dent in it. But when I go through all of this, I will try that one. NYX products, I feel like are, from my experience, are like hit and miss. I'm going to take some loose setting powder and set my eyelids. Hey, Kiki Ray. I liked the Color Pop in the Juvia's Place palette. I don't think I actually used the Juvia's Place yet. I did use the Color Pop palette, and I liked them, which isn't a big surprise because they're up my color alley, and I didn't have any issues with blending. So they were really good products. I really don't remember if I touched into the Juvia's Place palette at all. I haven't worn makeup the last couple of days, so this will be a nice transition into doing some makeup today with a new palette. Hey Eva, how are you? All right, I feel like our eyelids are good and prepped. So let's open the palette up. This palette is pretty, it's a neutral palette. If you haven't seen it, this is what it looks like. It's pretty neutral and it's more on the cool tone side, which I typically gravitate towards warm tone shades. So I'm going to end up doing I can promise you this is going to be a pretty basic eye look. I typically, whenever I first play with a palette, I go pretty safe. So I'm just going to touch into the shade that's called Transition, which is like the lightest shade in the palette. From Australia, what time is it for you guys? This shade's going to be very similar to my skin tone. It's very light. It's a little bit ashy, so I'm just going to use this as a transition and put it in my crease in my outer corner where I put most of my eyeshadow at. Just to have a foundation. If you did wear makeup, this is what you would wear. It's 7:30 where you guys are. So there is a little bit of color to it. It's blending out really nicely. It is a little bit powdery, but there's not a ton of kickback. There's a little bit, but not a ton. My birthday was okay. It could have been better. It could have been worse. It was really just like any other day. We had plans and they didn't end up coming to fruition, and then we were going to reschedule and do those plans on Saturday, and it just they didn't end up panning out, which sucks, but there's always next year. You can always celebrate it at a different time. So I'm not too bummed about it now. On my actual birthday, I was a little bit more bummed about it, but you know, things happen, life happens. Trying to grab somewhat of a blending brush. Hey E, how are you doing? So now I think I'm going to touch into this blend shade, which is a little bit, it's still another neutral before I start going into some of these darker shades. This is more of a brown undertone. And I'm just kind of going over the same areas I did with that other shade. But this brush is a little bit more fluffy, so it's dispersing the color a little bit more. This brush is a little bit itchy. It's probably why it was one of my clean brushes that I haven't used yet. You're an expat from Texas. These shades are blending extremely nicely. I have a spot, and I've pointed this out before, but like right in this area on this eye, it doesn't ever hold pigment, so it always looks like my eyeshadow is not blended there or that it's skipping, but it's really just my eyelid over the product. It's not really the product. Now I'm going to grab, if I can find it, a smaller blending brush and go in with some of these darker shades. I use this brush with a pretty pink eyeshadow, so I am just color switching it to get that excess. You moved when you were 68. Well, how do you like being overseas? I'm now going to touch into the crease shade. I typically would not use this many colors in an eyeshadow palette, but because this is my first time with this palette, I tend to use more colors just to kind of see how they are. And I'm going to try and put this a little bit under those other shades. This shade is a little bit patchy. Don't tug on your eyes like I do. I have a great natural eyebrow shape. Thank you. I'm lucky because if I had to have a stray brush hair or dog hair in my eyelashes, if I didn't have a good natural eyebrow shape, my eyebrows would be a mess. I'm going to grab a bigger fluffy brush because this shade is so patchy with the first two shades and just blend over this darker shade to kind of help work out the patchiness and help blend it. Well, I am kind to myself. It's true. I don't know how to do eyebrows or anything like that. So that helped a little bit. It helped the patchiness over here. I am going to touch into a darker shade, which is Smoke. Try not to get this shade here. This is like a really dark brown, almost black color. I can almost promise I am not going to touch into that shade. Super dark colors like that kind of scare me. My dog just barked. I don't know why he barked. And I'm going to focus this just on the outer portion of my eye and bring it in a little bit right at my crease. I'm going to go in just a little bit more. These shades are kind of, I mean, I like I like the palette, but these shades are kind of just blending together. Which that could be me for going into so many different shades here. Hey, it's just chat. How are you doing? I'm just bringing it in a little bit on my crease, not a whole lot. My left eye is blended way better than my right eye today. I'm going in with the previous dark shade just to kind of blend over those edges of this darker shade to help blend them out and not be so harsh. Oh man, lockdown happened a year after you arrived? Okay, so I think that's all I'm gonna do for the matte shades. I'm gonna take the eyeshadow brush I always use for shimmer shades. It's just this flat little brush. And this palette is chock full of shimmers. So I'm gonna go in with I guess I'll go in with the one that says center eyelid and we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna try it without a wet brush. Usually this brush does a pretty decent job with shimmers without being wet. This is like a pink champagne shade. I could not wax. Even when I do attempt to pluck my eyebrows, which I haven't done in years because it hurts too much for me, because of that, I know I probably couldn't handle waxing. I've never even tried to wax my legs before just because I'm afraid it's going to be extremely painful. All right. So that's the base shade. There's the next one that says outer eyelid. That's a shimmer. And I'm going to take a little bit of this. I typically don't put shimmers on the outer portion of my eye, but I'm going to tap this on right where the dark eyeshadow meets this other shimmer. Just a little bit. It's probably not even going to make a difference. And then there's a shade here that says inner corner that I'm going to take and put on the center of the lid and on my inner corner. When it comes to glitters, I just tap. I tap the eyeshadow on rather than swiping it on. I'm just going to put a little bit here in the inner corner. To help brighten up the eyelid. So that was my first time using this palette, and I like the shades. I am interested to use some of these silvers on the lid and even some of these bronze. I typically don't go towards a lot of bronze, but I do want to use these two silvers probably in the next eye look I make with this. There was a little bit of patchiness with some of the darker shades, but it's nothing that you really can't work around. The fallout is, there's no fallout on my face. The fallout, like the kickback in the pan, there was a little bit of it, but if you've ever used like Anastasia, Beverly Hills, I love their eyeshadow formula, but they're all of their formulas, from what I have experienced, have a ton more kickback than what this palette had. Her other palettes that I have don't have very much kickback in them. So I think because this is a little bit more smoky, I'm going to do some eyeliner. Hey, Jen. I hope you have a good day at work. Thanks for popping in. And I'm just going to use the pot, this is not concealer, the pot gel eyeliner. I may go out of frame for this. I'll try not to. And I probably won't talk while I get this done because it takes just a little bit of concentration. That's one eye done. It's probably not going to match because they never do. All right. So there is, with some eyeliner, they definitely don't match my wings, but that's okay. They're close enough that I'm okay with where they're at. So now we can go, I'm going to go ahead and do my mascara, and hopefully I don't make a mess with doing my mascara. All right. And I did try this L'Oreal Air Volume, and I've used it twice now, and I really enjoyed it. So I've been using this instead of my IT Cosmetics. I should probably try to layer them and see if they would layer well. This is a little bit more clumpy than, in a good way, than the IT Cosmetics Lash Blowout is. I'm going to let that dry for a second before I go in with my second layer. And while that dries, I'm going to put some Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter in the areas that you would typically highlight and blend that out with a little sponge. All right, now that that's blended out, mascara is still wet, so I'm gonna let that dry a little bit more before I'm gonna use my Estee Lauder Double Wear. I'm almost out of my Fenty Beauty, so I've been using this one. And I just usually do a pump to a pump and a half on my sponge, and then I try to dot it on my face and then blend it in. Forgot to put my nose ring back in. I took my nose ring out last night. I'll have to put it back in later. I didn't use any primer. I just realized that. Oh well. I'm not going to be doing too much today. I'm just going to film a couple of videos, which is why I got ready. Now that that's on, I'm going to set my face with the Fenty Beauty Pressed Powder Foundation. Get up under my eyes so my eyes don't crease. Now that it's warmer and my skin is being more dry, which happens in the summer for me, I'm going to have to probably start setting my face with something different because that powder is extremely matte and it almost makes my skin look way dry. And then I'm going to go in with my Fenty Beauty bronzer that clearly I have hit severe pan on. This is, for me and my skin tone, this is like the best what I have found to be the best bronzer for me. Because even if I go heavy-handed with this, it doesn't get muddy looking because of the shade. All right, I forgot to grab blush. So let me grab a blush. I'm going to use the Jouer blush palette. I'm probably going to hit some of these, a mixture between this hot pink and the mauve shade, just so it's not too overpowering. And you guys know for the last probably 2 months, I've been blushing a large bit of my face, actually. And I take it up over my nose and just pat. I'm naturally, which you guys can tell before I put foundation on, naturally I have quite a bit of pink in my skin. You can see it on my arms and my hands. So the blush over the bridge of my nose is actually, for me, it seems pretty natural for my skin. I feel like it's a youthful look. And then I'm taking some Wet n Wild highlight. It's a little much on this side. I'm just taking the brush I use to set my face. I'm just taking that a little bit over the side where I put just a little bit too much highlight for me. Yeah, I will, whenever my face kind of looks a little bit more dry, I do typically go in with a setting spray, which brings back some life to the face. I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows, which for me is really just shading in my natural brows. I don't try to add any more shape. I just like to fill in where it's sparse. And just like my eyeliner, I don't focus a whole lot if my eyebrows match. I just fill in what's already there. Thank you, Cheryl and Lisa. That's very sweet of you guys. Now I'm going to go in with one more layer of mascara just on the edges. And of course, I got mascara on my face. Just to help thicken the ends a little bit, since I do have eyeliner on. All right. Just scraped off the little bit of mascara that fell down. So I guess I'll top it off with a lip gloss, and the one that's sitting here is the Patrick Ta lip gloss. As you guys know me, I'm not a huge fan of liquid lipsticks or lipsticks. If I have anything on, it's usually chapstick or a gloss. I don't typically use a whole lot of lipsticks or liquid lipsticks, but sometimes I do. I'm not going to today. So this is our final product. Hey, Rarely Care. My hair is getting to an awkward length with this cut since it's shorter in the back. I'm probably just going to let it continue to grow, and then I'll get it an even cut, but I can't because of the length it's at. Like, I just pretty much lately have either been wearing it up or straightening it. So I straightened it this morning. So this is it. I would say for the Natasha Denona palette, it's pricey. Saw a piece of glitter in my hair. It's a pricey palette. It's $65. You can find, I'll be 100% honest with you guys, you can find cheaper palettes with this color scheme and get the same look. I like Natasha Denona's brand and I like her formula, so I probably will continue to use this. Clearly, I use all of her palettes that I have from her. I really like her brand. It's one of those brands that whenever I can treat myself, it's typically something from her or ABH that I will buy. And when it comes to eyeshadows, I typically tend to buy palettes, and I typically do tend to go towards the pricier end of palettes, and that's just my guilty pleasure. That's not to say I don't have palettes that are more cost effective that are just as good. I got that ColourPop palette. I've only used it the one time, but I really enjoyed it. I'll have to get better at making myself put makeup on because the last couple of days I really haven't worn any makeup. I think the last time I put makeup on was Friday when I got ready with you guys. Otherwise, I haven't done any. But here's the final product. I'm going to hop off of here. I appreciate everybody who has hung out with me and chatted. I appreciate anybody who watches this in the replay. But I am going to sit here and film a video that hopefully you guys will see tomorrow. If not, you'll see it in a couple of days. But keep an eye out on the community tab and Twitter because I will be announcing something. Nothing massive or anything like that, but I'm excited. I just have to do a couple of things before I can announce all of that. And then I'm going to film a video. Hopefully that can go out tomorrow. And then Friday, if you didn't watch the open discussion yesterday, on Fridays, I'm going to do like a recap open discussion where we can talk openly about any of the topics that you guys have seen that I have covered that previous week, just so we can kind of get all of our thoughts out and have a conversation about any topics that you guys see, any topics that I covered, if you guys want to talk about anything that I've covered. And I'm going to try and integrate that into my regular scheduled content, is that Fridays we'll be doing that. And I believe I'm going to hold those in the afternoon and not in the evening time because I know so many other creators prefer to go live during the evenings. Since I'm able to go live in the afternoons, I think I'm going to continue to do Monday discussions in the evening, but any other live streams that I do, I'm probably going to do in the afternoon, early morning time. And I know not everybody's able to participate in those. And I think occasionally I may put one more towards the evening time so people can participate who are on different time zones and things like that. But I'm just trying to be mindful of other creators and of you guys being subscribed to other people. So that just kind of gives you an idea. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys chatting with me while I got ready today. But I will talk to you guys later.